I work 40 plus hours a week and I'm still broke.
If I knew the price of everything in the economy would be like this, I would have started saving in the fourth grade.
I don't want to work anymore because I'm working every day very hard and I never had money.
I'm sick of going to work I'm sick of going to work and I can barely pay my bills at the end of the month.
You ever feel like your paycheck just evaporates? Like you blink twice and suddenly you're back at zero, wondering if you accidentally subscribed to poverty? Welcome to 2025, where even people with good jobs are broke, tired, and Googling how to become a tree to escape rent. And before you start blaming Starbucks and avocado toast, nah, this is bigger than that. You're not irresponsible. You're not bad at math. The math is just rigged. So in this video, we're going to break it down. Why you're broke, why it's not your fault, and what you can actually do before your paycheck ghosts you again. Let's go.
We can't trade all our time for money, and this money ain't even getting us by. We spending all this time get these checks, and these checks can't. The checks don't even last. Let's talk about how the checks don't even last you 2 full weeks no more. The check be gone in like 2 days, or it be gone in that first week.
So let's talk about the paycheck. You know, that thing you were told would fix everything once you got a real job? The one that was supposed to cover rent, bills, food, a little fun, some savings, and maybe, just maybe, a vacation? Yeah, that paycheck, it's now just enough to cover survival. Barely. And no, it's not because you're bad with money. It's because the math is broken.
It be gone in the first week. We need to talk about how the check be gone within the first week. Literally. It's honestly ridiculous. And to think like you spending 40 hours of your week, or hell, you might be even doing more time and you still don't got enough. You still struggling. That's why I'd rather lose out temporarily on some money if I know that what I'm creating and what I'm doing can lead me to more money. I would rather just take the loss in that moment and just struggle for that little bit, because I'm telling you right now, I done talked to older people. I didn't talk to older people in my family who just stayed working their jobs for years. And now that they in retirement age, or they can't no longer work because of health concerns, literally like they regret it. Like they wish they would have did something other than just give all their time to the job.
Housing up. Food up. Utilities up. Paychecks. Oh, they barely moved. They're doing the limbo while expenses are doing the cha-cha slide into your savings. You could be making 50K, 70K, even 100K a year and still feel broke. Why? Because by the time taxes, insurance, subscriptions, and surprise expenses are done with you, you're left with enough to cry in 4K. We were told that if you just got a good job, everything would be fine. But in 2025, a good job doesn't guarantee a good life. It just guarantees you're tired with Wi-Fi. But just when you think you're surviving the paycheck to paycheck game, another enemy sneaks in through the back door. It's not your boss. It's not the IRS. It's you. And that shiny little upgrade called lifestyle creep.
The biggest financial traps that you can fall into is lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is when you begin to slowly upgrade every category of your life as your salary increases. It's like your standard of living has suddenly elevated. I am so guilty of this. However, falling victim to lifestyle creep is one of the easiest ways that you can continue to live paycheck to paycheck, even when your salary increases.
All right, let's talk about the silent killer of your bank account. Not theft, not fraud, lifestyle creep. That moment when you start making more money and your life magically becomes more expensive. You used to meal prep. Now you DoorDash because time is money. You used to share Netflix. Now you've got 4 streaming services and a gym membership you visit emotionally, not physically. You got a raise, but your account balance didn't get the memo. Why? Because as soon as we level up professionally, we feel this weird pressure to look like we've leveled up financially. New phone, new shoes, new car, on a payment plan that's basically a second job. And before you know it, you're spending more just to keep up with a version of yourself that only exists for Instagram. But here's the catch. Lifestyle creep doesn't feel like a big deal until you realize you're making twice as much and still living paycheck to paycheck. Success isn't the problem. Trying to prove success, that's what's eating your wallet. But if lifestyle creep is the main course draining your bank account, then let's talk about the sneaky little appetizers stealing bites when you're not looking. Subscriptions, auto renewals, random charges you don't even remember signing up for, but they've been feasting for months. It's time we talk about the quietest thief in your budget, death by $9.99.
Want to save money? Cancel unused subscriptions.
Look, I'm not saying cancel everything and live in a cave, but when your card is getting hit by 5 different streaming platforms, 2 forgotten free trials, and an app you downloaded to build better habits in 2022, yeah, we have a problem. Subscriptions are the digital equivalent of tiny mosquitoes. 1 doesn't hurt, but 20? You're itching and broke. Companies count on you forgetting. That's why they hide the cancel button like it's the Ark of the Covenant. And you know it's bad when your bank statement looks like a menu. $7.99 meditation app, $11.99 something called Conflicts, $9.99 you think it's storage, but you're not sure. The truth is, your budget isn't broken, it's leaking. And if you want to stop feeling broke, the first step is to plug the holes, not just work harder to refill the bucket. So yeah, your budget isn't broken. It's leaking like your Netflix password in a college dorm. And while everyone's yelling, just budget better, like that's the holy grail of financial freedom, let's be honest, you can budget all day. But if the math still ain't mathing, we're going to need more than a color-coded spreadsheet to survive this economy. But here's the twist. Things may look hard, but just because things are hard doesn't mean people aren't getting smarter. In fact, let's give credit where it's due, because Gen Z and Millennials, they might be broke, but they're not blind. Let's talk about what they're actually doing right.
I know that Gen Z is financially preparing for this recession better than any other generation. We're literally picking up extra work, taking on side hustles, and saving more than any other generation. I think we're a generation of hustlers.
Look, say what you want about Gen Z and Millennials, but one thing they're not doing is staying quiet about the mess. They're not just surviving, they're reinventing the game. They're side hustling, freelancing, reselling, coding, creating, consulting, flipping vintage stuff, monetizing their cat's Instagram. Like it or not, they're finding a way. And yeah, maybe they're still broke, but they're resourceful broke. And that's a dangerous kind of broke. They're also the therapy generation. They talk about mental health. They challenge grind culture. They're not about to die at their desk just to prove they're hardworking. And honestly, that's a flex. Gen Z and Millennials are redefining what success looks like. And it's not just money. It's peace, time, autonomy. Sure, it's messy. Sure, it's imperfect. But for the first time in a long time, a generation is choosing to question the entire system instead of blaming themselves for why it's not working. So yeah, maybe they're doing things differently, not perfect, not traditional, but different. And that's the point. Because if the old playbook leaves you broke, burnt out, and blaming yourself, then maybe it's time to stop flipping through pages and start writing a new strategy that actually works for you. Here's how you start without going broke trying. First, track everything. Not with shame, but with clarity. Your money habits can't change if they're still playing hide and seek. Second, cut the emotional spending. Look, I get it. That $6 coffee feels like therapy when your job feels like jail. But financial freedom tastes better than vanilla oat milk foam, I promise. Third, focus on income, not just expenses. You can only cut so much. At some point, you gotta earn more. That might mean learning a new skill, starting a side hustle, or finally monetizing that thing you've been good at since forever. You don't have to be a millionaire tomorrow, but you do have to stop sleeping on your own potential. And lastly, give yourself grace. The system is rigged in a lot of ways, but blaming it won't build your way out. Start with what you can control.
Small wins, real progress, one intentional move at a time. You're not lazy. You're not a failure. You're just waking up to the reality that the old rules don't work anymore. And maybe that means it's time to write some new ones.